You're the host.
Oh, gosh.
You're the host, boss.
I'm nervous. Welcome to another episode of Gospel Unplugged. I'm Pastor Olson Pop, joined by my esteemed colleague and boss,
Pastor Los.
and I have the pleasure of hosting today because it is Camp Sunday, and I am not preaching, but you are. We're doing like a swap thing, and so we get to read this story that comes after the main Easter resurrection story where Jesus comes to Mary and Peter and the disciples. This happens on the same day, but in the evening with the disciples and then our dear friend Thomas. So I will pick up in chapter 20 of John's Gospel, the 19th verse. When it was evening on that day, the first day of the week, and the doors of the house where the disciples had met were locked for fear of the Jews, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." After he said this, he showed them his hands and his side. Then the disciples rejoiced when they saw the Lord. Jesus said to them again, "Peace be with you. As the Father has sent me, so I send you." When he had said this, he breathed on them and said to them, "Receive the Holy Spirit. If you forgive the sins of any, they are forgiven them. If you retain the sins of any, they are retained." But Thomas, who was called the twin, one of the 12, was not with them when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see the mark of the nails in his hands, and put my finger in the mark of the nails, and my hand in his side, I will not believe." A week later, his disciples were again in the house, and Thomas was with them. Although the doors were shut, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and see my hands. Reach out your hand and put it in my side. Do not doubt, but believe." Thomas answered him, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have come to believe." Pastor Los, I trust you have lots to say about this. Please share your wisdom.
I'm just a little ambivalent about that pass off.
Well, too bad. I'm hosting.
All right, boss. Oh my goodness, I love this passage.
Tell me what.
But actually, I'll say a little bit about why I chose
Why you chose for Camp Sunday.
For Camp Sunday. When we are in confirmation with kids, each of the units has a signature story that we do a Bible study on, and then we come back to week after week. And we try to not make them the obvious story, but something that invites, like it works sideways. And so when we are doing the creed, the Apostles' Creed, and teaching the kids the creed, the story we use is about the man whose son is possessed and nobody can heal him and ends up asking Jesus. And Jesus says, "Of course, anything's possible to people who believe." And he says, "I believe, help my unbelief." And the reason we do that is to help the kids sort of recognize or begin to have them live into this reality that belief and unbelief, faith and doubt are not polar opposites. They often exist in the same space. Mm-hmm. And so I think in that sense, this is a similar kind of story because we talk about how important camp is to kids' faith formation, and it absolutely is. And the faith we want to form in our kids is not certainty. Yep. Like, here's the stuff you have to know to be considered a good Christian. But instead, it's a sense of trust, and trust has ups and downs. And so I think just hearing in the context of Camp Sunday the story about one of the disciples who, when the other disciples come with the most joyful news they can imagine, is just like, BS. Like, I do not believe this until I get to see. And I think Thomas, we give him kind of a hard time. Before we started, when I said the story of doubting Thomas, he said, "It's just Thomas. It's just Thomas." And you're absolutely right. Mm-hmm. Like, we label him that way. All Thomas wants is what the other disciples already got, to see him. And Jesus actually says, look at my hands,
Yeah.
look at my side. So kind of Thomas wants the same. And I love that there's a story of one of the disciples who's not going to buy it without some kind of encounter.
Yeah.
I can say more.
He's like, this is usually when I pass it back to you, but I can just keep talking to you. I think Thomas gets a bad rap, but I think Thomas is an honest disciple.
Yeah, exactly.
I think in the first part of this story, Jesus shows up, says, "Peace be with you," and they immediately rejoice and are happy. And I just don't think that's how I would respond. Like, even Thomas, he just has questions. And yes, he proclaims, "My Lord and my God," when he finally sees Jesus and touches him. But it's just a more honest response to this unbelievable thing that took place of like, until I like see X, Y, and Z, I'm just a little skeptical of what you're saying. It's a little unbelievable.
Yeah, and that tracks with, Thomas, I think, has two other speaking lines in the story that John tells. The one is when Jesus is going back for Passover, and Thomas is the one who says, we should go with him. Like, let us die with him also, because it's pretty fraught. And so Thomas isn't, he's not a shrinking violet. He's not scared. Like he's, and the other one is when Jesus talks about going away. I'm going to my Father's home to prepare a place, and you know where I'm going. Thomas is the one who's like, we have no idea where you're going. How do we know the way? So there is this kind of realism that Thomas will assess the risks and take them on. Thomas will call BS when he's like, or at least like, could you be concrete? Like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And here I think we get some of that same realism. Like usually when the dead stay dead. So I need to see this to believe it, which I think I do like that sense of, that's a nice name, the honest disciple. Honest Thomas.
Honest Thomas. And he's faithful. He's faithful Thomas. Like he's still there, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot to be said about that.
Yeah. So. And he's not there on that first evening. I sometimes like wonder where was Thomas?
What was he doing?
And was he already getting on with things?
Yeah.
While they're huddled in fear, is he
in a
like,
locked room.
That sucked, but time to get on with life.
Right.
And I think, too, when you move on, someone to say, no, wait, you moved on too quickly, that's hard, and I think there's a lot of that stuff going on with Thomas. But what I really love, my favorite part of the story,
is
I for years felt a little bad for Thomas, and I have wondered if this is part of the bad rap, when he makes the great confession of John's gospel, like, my Lord and my God. No one else calls Jesus God. The only other place in the whole of the four gospels where that comes out is in the beginning of John. The Word was with God and the Word was God. So there's this kind of bookending of this amazing title that is being ascribed. Then Jesus says, have you believed because you've seen me? Blessed are those who haven't seen me and still believe. And I always heard it as sort of like, so you believe just because you saw me? Like a little bit of a scold. But then, as I think about it, I'm like, well, again, who is John writing for? He's writing for people who have not seen Jesus. And so I imagine it, like if we were going to film it, I would imagine it's less like the camera on Jesus looking at Thomas, but then kind of looks past Thomas, direct to the camera. So that it's less scolding and more of a blessing, to all those who came after Thomas and did not see, which means it's that blessing continues all the way down to us, that there's this invitation to hear Jesus blessing us as we struggle to believe, as we have a hard time, but as we do, blessed are you who believe and haven't seen. I just think that's kind of cool, like this invitation for John, for the story to like get three-dimensional, and come around us. Yeah. So, I love this story.
We'll save the rest for your sermon.
Oh, yeah. I have to. Oh, yeah. Forget what I said.
We like to end with questions. What questions would you like to pose to your beloved flock?
I didn't see that coming. I'm so sorry.
Oh, my gosh.
A couple. Yes, I would. One question would be, does it help, or how does it help to know that doubts, questions, struggles in faith are not unfaithful, but that are a part of the faithful life. Faithful Thomas, faithful believers now means struggle. So what difference does it make thinking about your struggles as a mark of faith rather than a mark of failure? And I think similarly, I would say, how does it feel to know that John wrote a story 2,000 years ago addressed to you as much as it was to his own community? And how does it feel to imagine Jesus saying, you haven't seen me and you believe, you are blessed? So,
Great questions. Well, thanks for letting me be the host today. Thanks for being such a wise sage for us on the beautiful story of Thomas.
Cut.
We will see you in church. I am excited about this Sunday. It's a time to celebrate camp and the amazing place that it is for us and our kids. We'll see you in church.